Being broke, feel funny. I'm serious, playing Monopoly with real money. I see too many pretending to be.
At Bright Future Alliance, what we do, we create community and educational programs, you know? Opening opportunities for young people, that's our goal, right? Man, I just want to connect the celebrities back to these young people, man. I think everybody's disconnected, you know what I'm saying? I feel like everybody's just kind of lost, and definitely these guys are influences, like Charlie Brown right there.
Okay.
Keep up, my brother. How you doing?
All right. What it is, use for change all day.
Definitely, I just want to kind of outline why we're here right now, because a lot of these young people are really inspired by you. Every time I have conversations with them, I tell them, hey, I went out to this video shoot. They're like, oh, why don't you call me, this and that, right? So definitely I'm just trying to organize something for my young people and so forth.
You know, the same thing I'm proud of accomplishing is the same thing that's been the greatest challenge for me. You know what I mean? And that's to succeed coming where I'm from. You know, like I'm from Jenin, Palestine. People that don't know, you know, the country's been occupied for over 50 years, almost 60 years now. You know, and that's where I was born. It's war torn. It's like there's no chance. You know, we had a chance and we made it here. And you know, taking that opportunity and using it. And you know, I'm not gonna say bringing myself to this level because I have so many great people around me that helped me out and you know, and brought me here, and we came up here together, you know. I think just still being here, you know, looking back and seeing family members that are still stuck there, you know, and now being able to put myself in a position to help, you know, my whole family, whether back home, here, anywhere. It's been the greatest challenge for me. It's been the greatest accomplishment.
My greatest accomplishments now would be touring. I've been touring a lot in and around Canada. It took me forever to do that.
Okay.
I have to keep building my resume and what I do and keep proving to people why they should fly me out to certain places. I mean, it started in Montreal. I remember I drove 5 hours to DJ for free and paid for my own hotel. And now, you know, everywhere in Canada I go, I fly and I get a certain amount of money and I'm able to demand certain things, but investing into my brand got me there. But I'd say challenges would be, you know, being in demand beyond Canada. You know what I mean? Like doing things like 106 in Park is good because I was able to be on TV and be able to sell myself in that sense.
Yeah.
But constantly investing into your brand, it's hard because if you ask a promoter to hire you in, say, Miami, they'll say, well, I got Khaled, or I got this guy, I got that guy. New York, I got DJ Cool, I got all these famous people. Why do I need you?
Yeah.
So I mean, I think those are the challenges I'm facing now. But I just recently put out a single, trying to do something different here to represent Canada, and I think stuff like that will help me go worldwide.
So my greatest challenge was always being creative. When you get to a point where money's holding you back, you have to down there be creative as to how you're going to get past that, how you're going to have your idea manifest. So, for example, me going to Africa, we wanted to go to Africa, but obviously that costs a lot of money. So we have our basketball camp that we did, and we did our little fundraisers, and we did these little events, and we saved up our money, and you know, it was humble means, to be honest, but once we did that legwork and we took that first trip to Africa, we documented that with our little cameras that we bought and returned to Future Shop when we came home because we couldn't really afford this shit, my fault. You know, once you do that legwork, then we started getting the support.
Say no more, guess I love Fendi because I couldn't say no more. Now I'm just thinking to myself, grab a swisher because you have my heart rolling every time that I kissed you. Girl, honestly, I'm honestly acknowledge me because I could give a dumb person some knowledge. Me and the economy, she figure like geometry. Shorty, I'm the best, hold up, think about it probably. And I heard him say that 2012 boy was a mile away. And when the world comes to end, can we hide away? Or do we just go to heaven the godly way? Define me, Ray, define myself. What's the opposite of poor is lottery help? Thought to myself, when the lights start flashing, is this world based on money and the fashion?
Bomb.
I'm honestly say that was really good, and that's all I'm gonna say. Cause your flow, like the way I see you coming up, is similar to more similar to Belly's flow, in a sense. You know what I mean? More similar to Belly's flow. Like I'm gonna let you could critique this.
I think that was crazy. That's amazing. And the fact that you're trying to be creative with it, I think that's even more. Like, and that's, you know, I was trying to tell the homie over there earlier, like, yo, you can't do things the same. And that's what I liked about what you were doing, is because you were trying to use words that people don't normally use. You were creating situations that people don't normally talk about, and you did it in a good way. You did it in a way that was hot. I like that, man.
I like the fact, I feel like you just shared some thoughts with me.
Definitely.
It provoked some thought, like you said, is 2012 is like a mile away, like that kind of stuff. Like that, like if you can spit something and then it resonates with me, it makes me go off and think like you know, like on like another little tangent or a branch or whatever. I think that's dope. I think that's really dope. You know, the difficulty with that kind of rap, when it's like, you know, you're using like entendres and wordplay and all that stuff. Just want to be clear as possible, so you get that message across. Because it seems like you have a pretty dope message. That's sick.
Definitely.
Charlie, you got anything for him?
I'll just say he doesn't sound like anybody I've heard before, which is good. You know, he has his own style, his flow, just like said Summer in the Valley back in the day. And I mean, yeah, sounds
Can you
good.
freestyle?
Sort of like, how would you go on about sort of maybe starting up like a street team or something like that, for example?
Belief, man, belief. You know what I mean? You can't have a cult without followers. You know, people gotta believe in it. You know, you gotta make, that's your job. You gotta make people believe in it. What you do has to be epic, to the point where the guys that are around you believe in it, but not only them. Now it starts to reach outside of the people around you. And once it reaches people that don't like you, like they don't like you, but they listen to you, you know you're doing it. That's when you know you're doing
I
something.
mean, that's just like, I mean, the way you create followers is by being talented. You know what I mean? By making music that they actually like. Like, they're not just gonna, I mean, you have your homies that'll do it because they're your homies, but as far as like walking down the street and a mom can stop you with an 8-year-old kid and she's like, I love you. That's because you're making good music. You know what I mean? The only way to do that is by investing time. Not even necessarily money, investing time. Because if I listened to the records I was doing 5 years ago when I thought I was the hottest person, you know what I mean? And all my friends would be like, oh, this is crazy, you're gonna blow. If I listen to that now, I'm praying somebody takes that off YouTube. So I'm like, that was terrible. But I mean, investing time, all those years in the studio, I mean, you learn so much, you experiment, you start making music you didn't even thought you could make. You know, you start learning how to write about things that'll touch people that you never even knew could do, you know what I mean? And that's only by investing time and seeing what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and then the followers will come. With little street, you'll see street teams pop. I have reps up everywhere. You know what I mean? I have kids in Spain that are like, I can't even understand what you're saying, they're like reps up.
I get a lot of great advice, man. I surround myself with a lot of wise people just for that, you know? So it's tough to say. I think the number one thing I learned in life is never, ever, ever treat somebody a certain way because they look a certain way, or because they're dressed a certain way, or they drive a certain car. Because, trust me, the real millionaires don't look like millionaires. And the people that matter don't look like they do. You understand? So one day you're going to talk out of pocket to somebody that really could change your life, and you won't even know it. And when that opportunity arises and that person sees you again, they're going to look at you and say, no thanks, I'll go to the next person, you know? So I think that's probably the number one thing I learned.
How'd you learn that?
From my dad, my pops.
Okay. All right.
If it's your time, it's exactly that. It's your time. And somebody was on Oprah one time and was like, you know, there's no such thing as good luck. It's, you know, preparation means opportunity. So if you're grinding hard, working hard, you know, working at whatever you're working at, and then that opportunity knocks, good to go. There's no such thing as good luck. Things don't just happen. You know, so you might be working like Belly said, put all this money into and this time, because I think time is even more important than the money in terms of investing.
If you don't really pursue your talent and you don't sharpen your sword and master your craft every single day, I sacrifice so much to do this, man. I sacrifice, family time. I sacrifice vacation. I sacrifice fun. Like a lot of the times, any money that I would acquire, instead of putting it towards something that I would have fun doing, I was putting it back towards my music, which I was having fun doing. But at that stage, you don't know what's up. You don't know where it's gonna lead you. You don't know if you're throwing this money into a hole that's never gonna come back.
Know, right?
You know what I mean? So, but I did it, and I went after it, and I didn't stop until I got it, and I still didn't. Like a lot of people might look and think, oh, we already got it. I don't got it yet. To me, to myself, I'm still chasing it, and I'm still going for it. So shut up and do it is my advice.
Nice. I'm putting together a mixtape. I have my own clothing line, and I'm putting together a mixtape. It's just getting artists to send me music is the biggest hassle. Like, I don't understand it because I'm not asking for like something.
You gotta be like this guy, man. You gotta be annoying. You know?
Yo, straight up, Charlie Brown, man.
You needed something from me. It was 15 texts a day, 30 calls, 14 BBMs, voice notes, emails, Twitters,
direct messages,
Facebooks. But guess what? He got it done. You know, and as much as in that moment I was like, damn, it's Charlie again. Like, yo, I got you, Charlie. I swear to God, I'm gonna send you the record. But regardless, you know, it got to the point where when we did everything and we finished everything, and me and P.reign and everybody, we left the set of Charlie's video. We were like, man, one thing is he stayed on it until it was done. You know, and you gotta show him love. And you know, I think that's probably the best thing that you could do is just stay on people. You know what I mean?
I think Belly was probably the hardest because he was the most established at the time. Like with P.reign, we kind of, I mean, he was doing his thing or whatever, but he wasn't where he is now. I'm sure if it was now, I wouldn't even get the verse. But I mean, if we weren't affiliated like that, because you know it's hard to get to these people. You know what I mean? But to go from the ground up, it was a lot easier. You know what I mean? I think Belly's definitely the hardest.
Your career as you are an artist and you continue to mold and form your craft, what would you say is the most challenging part besides probably just performing or touring and doing shows? Like, yeah, like what's the most challenging part of your job, and that pretty much keeps you where you are and grounded and everything? Because I know sometimes it can tend to get hectic, tend to get crazy. So like, what's the most challenging part for you guys as artists?
Ah, man, that's a good one for me. What keeps me grounded is my people that I've known my whole life, like my little brother, Guillotine. Like the people I've grown up with, Ghost Styles, or Rep Sub, ATF, like believe it or not, even Drake, like I knew him like way before he blew. Like just still being around those people and to see that even with millions of dollars, they're still humble. And even some of these dudes like that I grew up with now, I mean a lot of them doing life sentences in jail. I mean, and I still talk to them like every other day. You know what I mean? That's what keeps me grounded. Just remembering where I came from, my humble beginnings. But they're also like I can say that. They know this. They're also some of the influences that, I mean, put me in a lot of tight positions at times. Like, I'm known, like I'll walk into the club with 30 people behind me at any time and we have to get in the club. You know what I mean? That's a given. I made my name off doing stuff like that. But I mean, you'll have that one dude that you grew up with your whole life that could be drunk on any given night, do something stupid. And none of you guys are gonna know that person that did that, but you're gonna say that was P.reign's boy. And then I'm left in, you know what I mean? So I mean, you gotta control the people you're with. You gotta let them know, like, you know, you're serious about what you're doing. So I have no problem with you guys rolling with me. I'll never forget about you, but at the end of the day, know what you're doing because nobody's getting in trouble besides me.
My biggest piece of advice is lead with love. Anything you do, just put positive, like make sure you're leading with good intentions. Because I really do believe that a certain type of energy begets that certain type of energy. So yeah, most general advice, because I don't know any of you guys personally, is anything you're pursuing, it doesn't really matter what it is. Just make sure that when you're doing it, you lead with love.
For this to become possible, without Lisa, it would not be possible. She brought out everybody. Again, thank you on your own time, you know what I mean? Came out here. I know this is an exclusive crowd. You see where I'm coming from? I'd rather that more intimate. Get to know the real people that want to make something happen in their lives. Definitely. So with that said, I got her a star because she's a star.
They said that we was dreaming. You see this hip-hop game, it damn near raised me. Grew up in the hood, R&B saved me. A top 10 single some artists will never see. Let's take it back to reality.